Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon to you. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Christy McDonald in for Karen Drew. First at 4, from cold to snow. Our winter weather alert is tracking every twist and turn in January's Arctic blast. So let's go ahead and take a look at a live look outside from downtown Detroit to Southfield. All right, we have seen some sunshine, but it is not warming us up too much. We are still below freezing, and more snow is heading this way just in time for tomorrow morning's drive. Forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams gets things started with us for the first forecast. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Christy. Well, we're trading one problem for another. We won't have wind chills that will be 15 to 20 below tomorrow morning, but we will have light snow for the morning commute. Right now, you can see that frozen Detroit River adds a little chill to the air. 16 in Detroit, Howell also in the teens in Pontiac and in Adrian. So teens across the board, a little warmer than it was yesterday, but the wind chills are still below zero in most communities. 1 below at the airport, 1 below Ann Arbor, rising up to 2 in the city, 3 in Pontiac, 4 in Howell. Tomorrow, we start the day with snow. It will be light to moderate snow, but the timing of it looks like it will be right during that morning commute, around 7 a.m. to about 11 a.m. Could come in as early as 4 a.m. though, so just something we are going to be tracking throughout the morning hours. And as we've seen a couple of times in the last 2 weeks, even an inch of snow during that morning commute can cause all kinds of problems. Temperatures in the afternoon do get into the 20s. That salt will work a little better tomorrow, but certainly not at the optimum level. So we'll talk more about the snow tomorrow. There's more for Friday, and then we're back to bitter cold for the weekend and possibly more advisories. We'll talk about that as well.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you in just a little bit. Thanks, Kim. And with the harsh weather sticking around, our forewarned alert day coverage is extending into tomorrow. So make sure you join us on air and online for constant updates as our weather team works to keep you aware of what's to come so you can keep yourself and your family safe. Well, when you combine the frigid temperatures with some of the wind chills that we've seen, there's growing concern for those living on the streets. Warming centers are opening across the region, and outreach teams are in the neighborhoods to find those who need shelter. The Covenant House, Michigan in Detroit caters to youth and young adults up to age 24 dealing with homelessness. And on days like today, they are handing out gloves, hats, snacks, and rides to anyone at risk.
What if the person is starting to walk to the shelter and because they didn't have no transportation, no cell phone or anything, and then we pull up to say, hey, you don't have to walk, you can get in this warm and we can get you there. So that's our goal, is making sure nobody's out there in the cold that don't want to be out there.
Well, our crews will ride along with this outreach team to show us just firsthand how lives are being changed, and we will have that part of the story coming up tonight at 5 o'clock. Well, after celebrating that big win on Sunday, now the Detroit Lions turn their attention to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The next round of the playoffs this Sunday at Ford Field. And this afternoon, we just heard from Lions head coach Dan Campbell. He's talking like a guy who wants much more than just one playoff victory.
We got 3 left, and we got to go get this one right now. And so, you know, I think let's do everything we can to put a good game plan together. These guys where they can digest, be ready to go, good practice, and let's go get this one. And then, man, then we got to gear up for the next one. So I think it's very much business as usual.
We've got 3 more. I like that. Local 4 is your station for coverage of the Lions versus the Buccaneers. We're going to kick things off at noon with the last one. It's a look back at the Lions' trip to the playoffs back in 1991. And then the pregame, the big game, and reaction and analysis after it is all over. It's all right here on Local 4 this Sunday, so join us then. Well, once again, Congress is heading toward a government spending cliffhanger. There is some progress to report, but the clock is still ticking with critical issues hanging in the balance. Kimberly Gill joins us from the newsroom to show us where things stand right now. And Kim, that deadline is getting closer.
It is. Christy, good afternoon to you. That funding deadline is at 11:59 p.m. Friday. The U.S. Senate has pushed a short-term extension forward, but there's still much more to be done in the next 56 hours. The vote in the Senate was 68-13 last night, so that the bill pushes the deadline off once again. It would give lawmakers until March to pass an appropriations bill for the entire year, but the Senate still has to reach a deal for final passage, and an objection from any senator could slow things down. Then the bill still has to make it through the House of Representatives, where House Speaker Mike Johnson will have to rally enough reluctant conservatives to get it done. Johnson says a short-term deal is needed for long-term gains.
This is an important thing for us because it allows us to fight for our policy changes, our policy riders in those spending bills. And it takes time to do that. And so the reason we need just a little bit more time on the calendar is to allow that process to play out.
And late this afternoon, the president is hosting congressional leaders to talk about supplemental security spending. That proposal deals with money for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, and security at the southern border. You'll remember Congress didn't get that done before the Christmas break. So, Christy, we'll keep you posted on all of it. For now, though, we'll send it back to you for more news of the day.
All right, thanks, Kim. A lot to get done there.
Sure.
Former President Donald Trump is in court this afternoon, but the judge is threatening to kick him out. Writer E. Jean Carroll is testifying about Trump's attack on her reputation after she accused him of sexual assault. Well, in court today, the former president was heard making loud remarks to his attorneys about the defamation case. He was saying things like it's a witch hunt and a con job. When the judge warned Trump he could be removed, the presidential candidate shot back saying, quote, "I would love it." This trial will determine damages for comments that Trump made about Carroll while he was president back in June of 2019. Britain's royal family is dealing with some health concerns for two of its best-known members, starting with King Charles. Buckingham Palace says the king will undergo a corrective procedure next week for an enlarged prostate. It says the 75-year-old ruler is seeking treatment just like thousands of men each year. Palace says the king's condition is benign, and he wanted to share his story to encourage other men to get checked if they are having any issues and get them dealt with. And the news about King Charles came shortly after we learned the Princess of Wales is hospitalized and recovering from a planned abdominal surgery. Kate Middleton is expected to stay at the London clinic for up to 2 weeks. Kensington Palace isn't sharing more information on the procedure, saying the princess wants to keep her personal medical information private. 42-year-old royal also apologized for canceling several appearances and expects to return to her public duties after Easter. Well, you know, everybody loves a good comeback story. And today, the Pontiac School District is celebrating a huge turnaround. At one point, debt threatened the district's very existence. But today, the district is debt-free. Paula Tutman joins us from inside a brand new theater at Pontiac High School to show us how the rebuilding has already begun. Hi, Paula.
Hey, Christy, everybody take a look at this, because this beautiful new theater really speaks to the aesthetic that makes students feel good about where they go to school and things like that. But when a school regains its own ownership, a lot more intrinsic stuff happens behind the scenes, including the things that actually speak to the student experience in terms of education by being able to attract and retain teachers. Students may be out because of weather, but schoolwork is in full swing at Pontiac High School.
New ceiling tiles, lighting, floors.
There are lots of upgrades because of a bond passed by residents, but there's also something else going on here: ownership. As early as 2013, the school district faced a $52 million deficit, bad management, poor decisions, and a school that deep in the red gave students and staff the black eye.
And then you had teachers that had to take pay cuts. You cut this teacher's salary, then they have to go and potentially find other employment to make ends meet. And then from a district perspective, there was pushback because it's like, you want me to stay after school for professional development and do what? And you guys aren't paying me anything.
And the vortex became a mass exodus. The Pontiac School District went from being a 13,000 student district to a 3,700 student district. It meant that the $15,000 per pupil spend created an additional nearly $140 million per year reduction in funds on top of the already mammoth deficit.
People were gravely concerned about what the future of the district looked like, or even if Pontiac School District would even be a district.
Scoreboards are brand new, the floor is new.
Today, with the help of belt tightening, new fiscal strategies, and a lot of pain, the district is debt-free. No longer in the red, it is its own owner, and the difference is already noticeable.
I know we visited West Bloomfield. They had a great model. We sort of replicated a lot of that great learning space for our students.
The theater is a community gem. This is gorgeous.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. No longer in debt, the district is also in a position to excitedly rebuild.
We are in the competitive market now, whereas before we were the lowest paying district in the county. And now we're neck and neck with our salary and our benefits. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, teachers are the crux of education. By the way, gotta love what they put on the screen behind me. We're talking about new boilers, air conditioning, buildings that will actually start looking like new, Christy. This is how a school district is able to rebuild when it re-owns itself.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Paul, and congrats to them.